Hello, and welcome to Using Ratables for New Jersey Genealogy. Today, I'm going to talk about ratables, or tax lists, as well as other statewide sources for pre-1830 genealogy research in New Jersey. Why are we talking about pre-1830 sources? There was no statewide census of colonial New Jersey, and you may have noticed we are missing the first four federal censuses, 1790 through 1820, more than any other state. For this reason, ratables are called a census substitute, along with other lists of residents compiled on an irregular basis. Census substitutes include election returns, jury lists, quit rents, petitions, lists of freeholders, and tavern license applications. In this presentation, I'm going to cover all the ways you can access ratables. Before we get started, please take a moment to pull up my blog post, Using Ratables for New Jersey Genealogy. There you can download a PDF of this presentation, find links to everything mentioned today, and learn more generally about New Jersey's early taxes. Let's start by looking for ratables in print sources. The most efficient way to locate your ancestors on a Revolutionary era ratable is by using two print sources. They cover about 70 townships in New Jersey's then 11 counties from the period 1772 to 1786. Start with Ken Stryker-Rata's Index to Revolutionary Ratables titled The Revolutionary Census of New Jersey. Then look up the actual transcribed ratable published in the Genealogical Magazine of New Jersey. Stryker-Rata was interested in covering every known taxpayer during the Revolutionary period, partly because of a lack of a census and partly to identify those who had contributed financial support to the American Revolution. The Revolutionary Census was designed to fill this purpose, with the goal of indexing New Jerseyans on the earliest available Revolutionary ratable for every township in New Jersey. To do so, he cobbled together ratables from three separate periods, so nearly every township is represented by at least one list of heads of household. There are 5 townships not listed in the Revolutionary Census of New Jersey. According to the state archives, only 10% of all ratables collected still survive. If your roots are in these 3 Sussex County townships, you will need to rely on sources other than ratables for this period. Now let's take a look inside the Revolutionary Census. You will find it's divided into 3 lists of people, alphabetized by last name, from the 3 time periods I mentioned, 1772 to 1786. You can access this index in many public and academic libraries or get in touch with the State Library Information Center for a lookup using the contact form on our website. Now that you've looked in the index and know the township where your ancestors were living, you can turn to the ratable transcriptions published in the Genealogical Magazine of New Jersey. These transcriptions are in copyright and at this time only located in back issues of the GMNJ. The Genealogical Society of New Jersey continues to publish the magazine, and back issues and lookups can be requested on their website. Also, many public libraries throughout New Jersey subscribe to the GMNJ, and you can also contact the state library for specific individuals. To find the issue you need, consult the State Archives Ratables Collection Guide. The first page of each transcription contains a legend explaining the information captured, which varied based on what the legislature passed for that ratable. For more information about what was taxed, see the blog post. The brilliant thing about a ratable transcription, like a census sheet, is checking out your ancestors' neighbors, people they were guaranteed to know, many of whom were relatives by blood or marriage. Sometimes ratables were arranged by household, with neighbors next to neighbors. In this case, my relatives are listed with their neighbors in Fairfield, but the clerk chose to alphabetize everyone by first name. After each name is recorded what they owned that was taxable. The State Archives owns the originals of the Revolutionary ratables, as well as other ratables up to 1822. You can make an appointment to visit or contact them for a color copy. Their Tax Ratables Collection Guide includes all their holdings and is linked on our blog post. While using print sources is my preferred method to find Revolutionary ratables, there are a couple ways to search for them using Ancestry.com and at family history centers. I mentioned at the top of the presentation that ratables are known as a census substitute. Ancestry.com has a compiled census and census substitutes index for New Jersey. This is not a comprehensive index of ratables and does not necessarily include the same ratables as the Revolutionary Census. If you don't find someone you expect to find, turn to the print resources or contact us for additional assistance. However, This database is incredibly valuable as it includes the only known public index of New Jerseyans who signed petitions to the legislature. The original index is print only at the New Jersey State Archives. When you find an ancestor with a petition record or ratable, click View Record for the title of the petition or ratable. With the title of the petition, you can view the original at the State Archives or email them to purchase a copy. I did not want to not mention this resource, but only to advise you against using it. Family Search has a record for county tax ratables. You can access a digitized microfilm copy of many ratables while inside family history centers, but unless you enjoy trying to read poor quality microfilm of 18th century handwriting on a computer screen, I would not recommend it. I'm going to close by mentioning a few additional pre-1830 New Jersey sources. Anyone researching New Jersey genealogy would be wise to check out the following free State Archives databases. First, the Early Land Records allows you to track land transactions your ancestor made and deeds in which they are mentioned as a neighbor. Occasionally very helpful are the colonial marriage bonds. However, most people opted for a church wedding where a license was not needed. There have been multiple compilations of marriage bonds, but this database is the best and most recent access point and corrects errors found in earlier compilations. Finally, there are also a handful of Revolutionary-era databases, including service records and damage claims, the latter not to be missed. The genealogy source I turn to first and use the most is the Abstracts or Calendar of New Jersey Wills, 1670 to 1817. You will find these widely available from archive.org, Google Books, Hathy, and Family Search. My advice is to check the index for each volume and also run a keyword search within the PDF. With these methods, I have found clues to brick walls, particularly when family members turn up as witnesses to their in-laws' wills. You'll also see these come up on Ancestry, but only the testators are indexed there. I already covered Ancestry's Census Substitutes database in this presentation, and we discussed GMNJ's ratable transcriptions, but they also publish transcriptions of many smaller sets of records, as well as genealogies, still only available in print. They have several published indices, and the State Library has a complete set. And it's outside the scope of this presentation, but there are also church and county-specific records for communities around the state, including hundreds of small collections of transcribed records only in copyrighted works, all in the State Library's Genealogy and Jersiana collections. My final piece of advice is to check name variations. We've always spelled it this way in my family is a mistake many people make when starting genealogy. I've seen my surname spelled probably 15 different ways, and I found new spellings in the Revolutionary Census that I've now incorporated into my research. Thank you so much for attending the presentation and for your interest in early New Jersey and her people. I hope this information was helpful to you. If you have comments or know any other census substitutes we should cover, please let us know.